little video here. So let's pause the music for a second. We're gonna turn in-game music on. I said if I get a TvP, I'm gonna try and do this. So here we go, guys. We're gonna turn on that sick Terran Brood War music, which is one of the best soundtracks ever anyway, actually. And we are gonna try and walk you guys through what I am using as sort of a standard opening in the Terran vs Protoss matchup right now. Now, it's not 100% like this is just gonna win you games, but this is kind of my middle ground of being quite safe at the moment, and it might help you guys out as well. So I'm going to do this little video. I might freeze up during the game in terms of the commentary, and if that happens, that's fine. I'm just going to go back to watching the replay at the end. I'll rewind, and I'll talk you guys through all the key points. But to start out, it is going to be a barracks reactor. Whoops. Barracks reactor expand. Get drilled on. Get drilled on, dickhead. Praise Abathur. Praise Abathur. So we see an expansion. That means we aren't being proxied really fast. We may be getting proxied, but get blocked on. Get blocked on. Yeah. Get drilled again. Get drilled again. Alright, so you need to get a depot nice and early here. Which I'm a little bit late starting. So it looks like a pretty standard setup, except for the fact that I did not actually see a second pylon just yet. Anyway, for now, let's build that factory. Your factory is quite late, you'll notice with this build. It's fine. Okay, there's the second pylon. And let's go for that gas now. So he was chrono boosting his gate, super standard stuff, nothing crazy there. This guy's going to come back there, as is this guy. I'm going to go straight for a starport. And I was wanting to build a cyclone with this build. Try and make it just a little bit more solid versus the frontal pressure. And see if I can get away with skipping a bunker. I don't know if I can. We'll find out. I'm going to hide this SCV on the map as well to try and spot what he's doing a bit later as well. So let's build that cyclone straight away, yeah. I'm changing up the build a little bit here from what I was doing previously. This is something I've been writing in my notes. I've been writing notes because I'm a little nerd, and I like refining my build orders. So I've been writing notes, and I've been thinking that I can probably get away without the bunker if I go cyclone first every game. We'll find out if that actually works, or if I'm just a dummy. Cyclone can go down there. This is gonna both try to get in there and scout the tech. Actually, you know what? That's fine. Queue up those SCVs. This guy's just watching for a third. He can scout for it a little bit later as well. And we are now going to go for that second barracks as well. Oh, maybe not just yet. Let's get that medevac first up. So, let's go for the bunker now. Actually, let's go for a tank first. Jeez, I'm a little bit indecisive today, hey? Cyclone's gonna go out on the map. Let's try and get that second barracks.
Ready for dust off. Go ahead. SCV ready.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's get that Liberator started. So we've got 3 barracks on the way now. We're building more Marines and tanks. Shield battery is at the front. He's going straight for Colossus tech.
This better be good. SCV ready. Our SCVs are under fire.
You actually care about
Third
those?
CC as well as
Gateway coming through.
the third gas.
By the number.
Head on complete, you clever scoundrel.
Orders received. Add-ons ready.
Okay.
Need something liberated?
You scared me.
We're just gonna be going.
Give me orders. Comms open. You got SCV ready. Armed and ready. They're attacking your base.
So serious.
Okay, let's get that 4th gas. Just single upgrades for now.
Get heavy. This better be good. SCV ready to raise some hell. Where's the hot action?
Add-on complete, you clever scoundrel.
It's probably gonna kill that pretty quickly, but that's okay.
Travel blast.
So we're gonna get. Alright, Liberator's gonna piss off now. This is one of these guys who just kind of builds up and tries to take advantage of a very normal game, I guess we would call it. He's trying to lure me in. Taking a really bad fight there.
Your research is finished. Go cause trouble.
Discovered the stream 5 days ago. Never played much and never been higher than silver in SC2, but stayed for the great commentary, the positive energy and the all-round gameplay. Thanks.
Thank you so much for the tip there from YP Yashtosh. Like I said, guys, I tend to freeze up.
Need something liberated? Initiating.
Research is SCV ready.
Light flight
Your
here.
research is finished. Go cause trouble.
What's going? Armed and ready.
You're serious. Need help.
SCV ready. This better be good.
Upgrades ready.
A mineral field is gone.
Oh dear.
Shit. Oh man, I had some really bad SCVs just idling there.
Ready for dust off.
Coming through. Been waiting for a piece of me, boy. Armed and ready. SCV ready. It's about to get heavy. Roger that. Want some? We could use some help here. We could use some help here. SCV ready. Go, go, go. Orders. Let's have a plan. Add-ons ready. Mineral field. This better be good. SCV ready. All right. Armed and ready. Let's get into the fight.
He's being a real shit with that, man. He's really pissing me off.
Add-ons want a piece of me, boy. Gangway. I'm in a world of hurt. Who wants some?
Got it.
Go, go, go. Armed and get heavy. This better be good. Go ahead.
Ready for dust off.
Yo, this. What's up? This better be good. Aye, aye, sir. Upgrade complete. Gangway. Coming through. It's go time. Been waiting on you. In rear, fix the gear. Who wants some? By the numbers, this better be good, B-boy. Been waiting on you.
Perfect.
Go ahead. You mind a whole cluster.
Nothing left.
Reporting for action.
Gangway. Come
They've engaged our forces.
Love engagement. Liberation is ahead. We have you.
Alright, let's push that top base.
Add-on upgrades ready. Use it well.
This better be good.
Incoming orders. Liberation is ahead.
Upgrade complete.
Waiting on you. Ready to pick up this mess.
Liberation is at hand. Yes,
Now
sir.
that coming through. I feel go, go, go. It's about to get heavy.
Ooh, okay, push, 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 push.
Need something liberated?
Way coming through. Let's have a blast.
Talk to me.
Mineral fields depleted.
Incoming orders.
Ready. Ready for dust off.
Yes, sir. Upgrades ready. Use it well.
Been waiting on you.
SCVs need your protection.
Confirmed.
This better be good. Go, go, go.
We got him.
That was more fun than I expected.
I prefer watching you, Matthew.
Whew. Okay, so like I said, guys, I want to talk about that match. But TvP is quite tough right now to not overextend and just throw the game. It's really quite difficult. So I wanted to just play as well as I could and then try and talk you guys through my game plan for TvP. This is basically how I like to play TvP. Is just go buy a Liberator every single game, no matter what's happening. You guys could easily play Vikings off this sort of opening, you know, play however you want. Now, there's some people in chat saying, oh man, you out multitasked him, yada yada. You know, I think I was just ahead though, right? I don't think I necessarily out multitasked him until I was already ahead. If we look at the supply count, I'm at 170 supply to 140. What upgrades does he have? He's got +2. I've got 1-1. So he's gonna get +3 around the same time I get 2-1, right? So he's not really ahead on upgrades, whereas Protoss normally is with the new Chrono. So there's that. And yeah, I play a multi-pronged style. That's how I choose to pick apart an opponent, because pushing through disruptors without something like range libs is really hard, right? This is generally how I play against Protoss, but especially against against a disruptor army. If he had charge lot, Blink Stalker, I might be doing some small drops, but most of my army would be altogether focused on winning the frontal fight, because he would have a very scary mobile army that could jump on me and beat me if I spread my units out too much. But because he's going for an immobile army centered around these powerful immortal units, I say, well, okay, I'm going to split my army up. Now, he actually had an observer right there. He could see these units. Oh, man. He had observers everywhere. Fucker. I couldn't find where his observers were. It turns out he had none on my side of the map. Okay, that's why. I thought he'd be tracking my army with observers, but he actually never was. He had nice vision down here. But let's go back to the start. I'll walk you guys through the opening. So first things first, we're going to do barracks gas at the start to make sure we've got plenty of Marines in case an Oracle comes in. So if it was one base Oracle, we'd have plenty of Marines. So right at the start, we just go for a standard 14 depot. Then we go barracks, gas. So 16 racks, 16 gas. We have our little skirmish with the probe, making sure he doesn't annoy us too much. We go reactor first. Straight into command center. Remember, I spotted an expansion build. Now, if I spotted he was on one base, I would get a bunker a lot faster at my natural. I would just non-stop produce Marines. Otherwise, I wouldn't change too much, except sending out an SCV or two to try and scout exactly what he's proxying and figuring out, okay, you're on one base. But you notice I even checked for his second pylon. I said, look, okay, are you building a second pylon? My SCV went back in, double-checked. Yeah, you've got your second pylon here, which means you're not proxying. So I double-checked that, and I'm like, okay, cool. So this is going to be a pretty straightforward game. He could still hit with an Oracle, but it won't hit until closer to 3 minutes 30 or 4 minutes at the earliest. Probably about 4 minutes is the more likely time. So here we go. You go barracks. You start building Marines immediately. Now, important there is you want to start building that second depot nice and early. So before you even start Marine production, next up after the command center, it's build a supply depot. We're then going to start a Marine production. So immediately start pumping Marines. We're then going to go for a factory only after you start Marines. And that's going to be about 2 minutes 17 when the factory goes down. Now, my SCV kept scouting around, and I used to always go a Widow Mine off this factory and put it in the mineral line. You can still do that, but I've decided to try and be a little bit greedier lately. And on big maps like this, I wouldn't do this on a small map, but on big maps, I like to skip the bunker and just try to get a Cyclone out. Because a Cyclone can kind of defend an Oracle quite decently. It's a lot more mobile than the Widow Mine as well. Like, if you put a Widow Mine there, if they're good with their Oracle, they can just go around it and keep zapping and picking off Oracles. But a Cyclone can chase an Oracle out of your base very quickly. So we go straight for a Cyclone on the factory. Straight into starport, constant Marine production. We start our depots. Now, I like to hide this SCV on the map because I want to see if he rushes a third base and hopefully scout for tech. Normally, I just scout for the third base, but today I also decided to scout for tech with it, and I got really lucky. His stalkers were way out front, and you're going to see me scout in. So I actually block this base by starting a depot, run in, and I see, oh, he's going Disruptors / Colossi. You know, one of those. I should have noticed. Yeah, so I see that, and I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine. No worries. So I know that you're not doing some crazy all-in, which means I can commit to my light pressure. Light being the operative word, dudes. Big thanks, Zaccharon, my man. Welcome to the pigsty. Light pressure. Do not overextend into the new stalkers. They shoot down medevacs so easily. Always save your boost to get out of their base, and always be very light with it. So I send 8 Marines across in a medevac. I've started building a tech lab after the Cyclone, and I just build a siege tank before swapping that factory over to build more add-ons. I've actually been thinking I could probably add a second tech lab on that for this barracks here. So I could have built both tech labs and then build the reactor, since I don't really want to build Widow Mines just yet. I don't really have the money for it. So keep building depots. You add your second and third barracks when you can afford them, and then you go across with this light pressure. So we're going to come in with 8 Marines. Now, the aim of the 8 Marines is once again to check, has he got a third base now? If he doesn't have a third, we're going to get the fuck out of there. We might do a light poke, but then we're going to get out of there. Now, the reason this time I still committed with the drop, even after seeing no third base here, is because I'd spotted his tech, and I knew that with Colossus or Disruptor drop, you're often going to take a later third. So I knew it's not like he's going to have Blink and he's just going to blink on me. I knew he wouldn't have Blink, he wouldn't have Phoenix, so there's no way for him to hunt down this medevac as long as I'm a little bit careful with it. So I boost into the corner, drop in there, and try to get a little bit of damage done, and then I just get it out of there. Behind that, I also have a Liberator queued up, which can come in and siege up on the main. And since there's no Mothership Core, a lot of players you'll catch out with the Liberator, but usually you just want to force them to leave some Stalkers at home. Going through these moves forces the Protoss player to not play too greedy, and especially with the new Chrono Boost, you need to do that. If you let the Protoss player feel like there's no risk or no threat, he will just Chrono Boost probes, have way more economy than you, and you will get screwed later in the game. So I see, okay, you've got Stalkers there, you're making more Stalkers. Medevac can just go home at this point. Let's just go home, make sure I'm nice and safe. So I've got a Siege Tank, I'm still putting Marines, my Cyclone's still chilling there. I've got 2 barracks with Tech Labs, so I'm going to start Stim, Combat Shields. 3rd Command Center will go down, the Starport can start its own reactor. And you can start an Engineering Bay, and once you've got the 3rd Command Center and the Engineering Bay, you want to take both gases on your natural. In this game, I took the 3rd gas a little bit earlier. But it just depends kind of, if your gas is a little bit low, you can add it faster. But I would say normally just go 3rd CC, Engineering Bay, bam, double gas is a good way to think of it. It's nice and simple. So my Liberator is going to go in and just be slightly annoying. At home, there was a Disruptor drop. So just spread out Marines will stop a disruptor drop because it can at most kill a single Marine. It's barely even worth your opponent's APM to do that. So that's going to do a pretty good job. And you also want to build a Viking, which I was a little bit slow to build because I was building this reactor. But notice just Marines spread all over. That should stop the disruptor drop, just so he can't get in and mess me up too much. So I siege up, I kill a single probe, and I just fly out of there. But this is forcing him to warp in Stalkers, forcing him to potentially bring more Stalkers in there. I'm just making sure he's not playing too crazy safe, too crazy greedy. And he comes in, he's trying to do a fancy drop there. I was ready to pull back my bio and pull a unit into the disruptor shot. Then we just take our third, we build some missile turrets to try to get rid of any observers that are watching our army. And then you want to add a second engineering bay and armory, and your fourth and fifth barracks in whichever order you like. From this stage, we're going to talk about my general game plan for TvP, guys, which is basically don't walk into disruptor shots. Let's watch that again in slow-mo and watch me saying, I know he has disruptors. Let's walk right past a watchtower. He has a probe on and not clear that up like an idiot. And then walk straight into a disruptor shot without having a Marine out front. So obviously I've got to back off after that. I'm not really trying to push him here. I just knew that because his third was late and because he's gone disruptors, these aren't mobile units that can really chase me down. I knew he probably wouldn't have blink yet, or if he did, he can't really blink on top of a bunch of stim bio, or I'll just spread against the disruptor shots and kill all the stalkers. So I was just trying to create threat here. I was saying, you can't take a fourth, you shouldn't feel comfortable getting a Templar Archives or a second Forge. Let's just roam around the map with this army, and you can see it makes him paranoid. So just being somewhat active on the map in the mid-game is really useful. But keep in mind, guys, if he had charge, if he was going just pure blink stalker chargelet, I would be sitting at home like the most turtliest motherfucker with its head pulled into its shell, just peeking its eyes out every now and then and going, how many bases does he have? Does he have Storm? If he's not going for Colossus or Storm or a fourth base, I'm not fucking moving out because chargelets with upgrades will fucking tear my face off. So I'm like, I would just be sitting there, and sometimes you'll even see me just build like 4 bunkers at my third base because these like 2-2 and 2-1 chargelet attacks are just frigging insanely hard to stop. So you have to just sit at home, at most poke around with like a single drop, and basically just play really, really conservatively. And only once you get up to a big army with a lot of Widow Mines and that sort of stuff do you actually engage that. Now, speaking of Widow Mines, let's look at my unit count, guys. I only have 2 Widow Mines. Why do I only have 2 Widow Mines? Because he's going Stalkers, Disruptors, Immortals, and potentially Colossi. These are all units which are great at clearing Widow Mines. Widow Mines are never going to get in range to kill them. Widow Mines are your anti-charge lot and anti-adept unit. They suck against these ranged units. So I don't build a lot of Widow Mines. My factory just builds a reactor for the second starport to go on. And I just start pumping out Liberators after I hit about 4 or 5 medevacs. So I get 5 medevacs, and I say, all right, that's cool. Let's just focus on Mass Liberator now, and let's get a 4th base. I would advise most people get more production before the 4th base. 6th and 7th barracks should also go down. So you need to get 2 more Tech Lab barracks. Notice as well, 3 Tech Labs on the barracks and 2 reactors. So you can build 4 Marines and 3 Marauders at a time. You want to be very Marauder heavy. If you're Marine heavy, which a lot of beginners make that mistake against Protoss, you'll be doing fine, you'll be winning. They suddenly have 3 Colossi and your army's fucking useless, appallingly bad, and you're like, oh god, I'm shit. Speaking of shit, oh man. This Disruptor killed a lot of units. Just sloppy multitasking from me, but this was a decision. So you can look at this and say, oh Pig, you're so shit. He was focusing so much APM on this. Where's his 4th base? Where's his next upgrade? Where's his Colossi transition? Where's his Storm? Look at his fucking money floating. Me? I have a 4th base up, bitch. I got 2 starports building Liberators. So I'm focusing on my macro and I'm saying, screw you. I don't give a shit. I'm going to make some dumb micro mistakes because I'm more focused on my macro. I can handle it. That's fine. That's totally cool. And once you get a big army out, you need to split your army up because he has a very good ranged army. If I'm trying to just push through him, he will pick off my blinks, my Liberators with his Blink Stalkers. His Disruptors will shoot balls into my army. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever been teabagged before, but it's not a comfortable feeling. And trust me, if you try to push front on through Disruptors, you're going to get balls in your mouth. It's going to be salty. There might be a couple of pubes mixed in. It's going to be terrible. Just don't do it. All right, guys? Just don't do it. Please. Please. So notice how I split this army up over here. Let's watch this from my camera. I'll fast forward it a little bit, but let's watch from my camera. I'll show you guys exactly how you do this movement. So your whole aim is to pull him out of position and pull pressure away from you so you can get a push going. So I move over the left-hand side of the map, But notice I had watchtower vision. And what do I see with that watchtower vision? Just as I'm moving up the left-hand flank, he suddenly changes his mind from pushing to the middle, and I see him running to the left. I saw this, and I went immediately like, oh! So watch what I'm controlling in my bottom display bar. Let's watch this. So I'm sieging up, and I'm like, oh, he's not going to push. He's going. He must have spotted this army with an observer. I immediately send it to go hide in this corner. And since I know he's hunting for this army, the rest of my army is going to unsiege, group up, and start pushing through the north side. So I always like to send either a double, or in this case, a triple drop down one side, try to pull him out of position with it, and my main army pushes the other side. So his army's over here. He's like, where's your drop at? You cheeky dickhead. What are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, well, it's going to hide there. And then I'm like, you know what? Okay, this push is almost in position. He's going to go engage with this. But as he shifts to engage with this, we're going to run these guys in. And we're basically just going to shank him in the back. We're going to say, shanky, shanky, get stabbed, and he will die. So we siege up the Liberators. Notice I'm just spreading the bio backwards. But if he blinks forward like that, that's where you can usually get some good engages. Unfortunately for me, he has so many balls in the back that it's going to be a little bit hard for me to mitigate those. He's already taken out most of my libs. Luckily, he's used most of his balls. Does get a really good ball hit there, though. And you can see here, if he engages you before you get your full spread, like I wasn't fully spread. If I had units spread all over the place, I could have dealt with that a lot better. Because I was forced to micro away from the balls, he got rid of the most of the libs. This is not looking like a super efficient fight for me. But it's always your second prong that comes in and seals the deal. He can't really dislodge a pre-spread Terran army. Notice I spread the units out. I very rarely ball them all up. And in the midst of this as well, so not only did I send that in, I actually grabbed these units from my reinforcements, and I made sure I cleared that watchtower because I saw he had a unit there. And I wanted, no matter what happened at the end of this engagement, I wanted them to have no map vision. I figured, look, if he has map vision at the end of this, he can maybe do some good movements to stop my next attacks. But I sent those through, and then realizing they'd cleared the middle, I was like, oh, just go hold position behind that mineral line. And these guys just killed a ton of workers. These dudes here, also going for the probes. The probes are the most value target, hit point to cost that you can ever kill. Because it's 50 minerals for only 40 hit points. So killing workers is always the most efficient thing. Like if you're meant to kill a Nexus, Nexus has 2,000 hit points. So the equivalent difficulty of killing a Nexus in workers is to kill 50 workers. But a Nexus is definitely not worth 50 workers. It only costs as much as 8 workers. So workers are always the most value thing. So I got him down to 14 workers. He's like, oh god, fucking hunt this drop down, you piece of shit. But he's actually a little bit slow on his blink here. He's not paying attention. And I actually did a really dangerous path home with those and should have lost those medevacs. That was a really greedy path. But then I basically just group up my army again and start doing another push. Just keep sieging up those Liberators and say, come engage into me. Oh shit, he's kind of behind me. So what do? I just split some units into his new 4th base and I just keep spreading backwards and trying to reposition these Liberators as best I can. So just lots of spreads. But notice it's all about letting the Protoss engage into me. Don't try to force your way down the Protoss' throat. If you're just pushing front on, the Protoss is all set up, he's got all his AoE, you're going to get shat on. So even though I'm taking some bad disruptor shots, my engagements aren't perfect. What am I doing, guys? I'm queuing up way more units. I'm on top of my macro. He's got fucking no economy. So even half-ass trades are good enough. And in the end, we take it out. GG. He says GG, well played. That's the end of that game. And hopefully that game helped you out in your TvP, dudes. So, yeah. I'm gonna turn that one into a little YouTube video because heaps of people have been bugging me about TvP. Not bugging, but asking for advice. And I'm like, I guess I'll just do a video on kind of what I'm doing as my macro play right now. TvP is very hard right now for high-level players. The high-level Protoss players are playing very abusively, but that's a good example of the main structure that I'm trying to do, guys. So yeah, just try not to get teabagged, and hopefully you can win some TvP. Good luck.